excited to introduce you to my friend Brigit from biddytarot.com. And I first of all, I want this intro to be sort of unscripted, because as I'm going to different stores, meeting new friends, even going to these so-called like spiritual stores that are popping up in the US these days, I walk in and I say, have you heard of Brigit from Biddy Tarot? How come you haven't? I literally like sharing URLs with people, because I have been really transformed and so appreciative of getting to know you and the things that I have learned through you. Because Brigit, you're the founder of Biddy Tarot. I would say the biggest, the number one, not just tarot reading, but to understand, I think, our spirituality, our creative energy at the next level. You're one of the biggest sites out there. And I have since then purchased books, and these cards of books on my laps. That's why. And I highly recommend to anybody who is, very new to this world, feeling a little intimidated, perhaps. We're going to play some games as part of this live stream. I highly encourage you to join in, and I certainly will be as vulnerable as I possibly could. With that said, yeah, Brigit, welcome. I'm so thrilled you're here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. And I've got to say, it's been so beautiful just watching you open up and blossom to tarot, just from a few little creative sparks, and it's just landed for you. And that's the magic that I love, being able to create in different people and being able to offer that doorway, really. And hopefully we get to do a little bit of that today.
Well, I'm so excited. I was really surprised too, because prior to knowing you, I had like zero experience with tarot. I couldn't even tell how many cards in the deck. I couldn't tell you exactly what the process is like, and was very intuitive, which is part of your business, like an intuitive business. And as before we opened up, I mentioned, I try this experience on my mom, who's, turning 71 this year, who's Chinese and, by descent. And she found it so interesting. And every evening she's like, it's time to play tarot again. She's reflecting. So I guess you're not so surprised by that, but we're, even though we're not maybe your target audience necessarily, we weren't your target audience, but we're really able to benefit from this.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of tarot, is that it is actually can be so very accessible to anyone who is ready just to open up more to like their intuition and, personal reflection and so on. For so long we've thought, oh, tarot is like, woo-woo, or like it's something that's spooky or even evil and mysterious and so on. But that's really been my mission through Biddy Tarot, is to bring it to people like you, and who may not have necessarily thought of tarot, or maybe they've been a bit worried about what it might be like to use the cards. And I almost see it like as an awakening or a remembering, excuse me. So that remembering, that feeling of inner knowingness. We spend so much of our lives kind of in this external space, and like, what does he say about that? What does she say? Let me Google it, what have you. But tarot really helps us bring that energy and our attention inwards. And it's just a way of being opening up to ourselves and reflecting on who we are and what our role is and our purpose is in life.
It's very, very telling. I was surprised by it. And frankly, one of the reasons for me to want to engage is because of knowing you, watching your videos on YouTube, reading your website, knowing that you've started this business when you're just a teenager, 16, 17 years old, and this business it certainly inevitably and creatively has grown with you. And I think for me, like that intuitive part is also like liking and trusting the creator and the founder behind the brand. I think I would have probably thought about tarot very differently if I were stumbling upon a different site. So with that said, I would love for you to talk about your origin stories, and then really maybe start with who is or what is Biddy Tarot?
Yeah, so Biddy Tarot started all the way back in 1999. And that's when I just started learning tarot. And I thought, okay, if I'm learning tarot, maybe I could share this with, one other person on the internet. And the internet was very, new at that time. And so I started learning how to hand code a website, and Biddy Tarot was born. It was very different to what it does now. But really, it was that passion and that desire just to share something that I really loved and thought, well, maybe someone out there somewhere in the world could benefit from this. Over time, I worked in corporate. I was a management consultant. I worked in HR, and I would always do my tarot readings on the side. It was my beautiful, creative, intuitive outlet, I suppose. It wasn't until kind of like the late 2000s that I picked up Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, and I thought, oh wow, this this love I have for tarot could be an information product. It could be something that I could generate a small income from. And so I started selling ebooks. I started creating like more SEO on my website. And literally within a few months, Biddy Tarot was up in the Google search rankings, like number 1, number 2. And, it has stayed there ever since. So deeply grateful for that.
Wow.
And then 2012 is when I left corporate because my income through my business finally reached the same that I was getting through corporate. And I thought, why am I showing up to a job that's not feeling in alignment anymore? And why not pursue this new avenue? And again, like fast forward over that last sort of 10 years or so, we now have online courses. We have a membership community for our tarot readers where they can practice readings and connect with one another. We have a certification for our Biddy Tarot advisors. And we have books on Amazon, which I realized one of our books is The Ultimate Guide to Tarot Card Meanings, self-published. We've sold over 50,000 copies of that in the last 5 years. So it's pretty amazing. We also have the Everyday Tarot deck. We've sold over 400,000 copies of that. And I know you've got that one there.
Such good quality too. Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely. And it's a nice mini, so you can take that with you. And we're about to launch this one, which is the Biddy Tarot deck. And
so cute.
I've got some cards here so we can kind of play like side by side with these 2 different decks. Yeah, there's a lot happening in our world, and really just motivated by the mission to make tarot accessible to all, really to help everyday people connect with their intuition using the tarot cards as a guide.
Oh, I love that mission. And I also like the design. I feel like your branding, certainly you've had 10 plus years at this point to refine it, but I just feel like one thing I want to call attention to, since a lot of our viewers on YouTube, LinkedIn, they are creators and entrepreneurs, small business owners. One of the things that come up all the time is like, how do I make my brand compelling, memorable, and consistent across different channels? And I noticed with Biddy Tarot, it certainly is the way. Like the purple as the color. We don't have the perfect purple background today, but it's something that I definitely want to echo because of your brands. And also the cards, the design, the quality of the cards, very thick, you can hold on to. And my mom and I've been using it regularly and it still look brand new. And it just, also the cards is very, people can't really see all the details, but it's very friendly, not cartoonish or anything, but it's just something that takes almost the fear away. It feels familiar, it feels really touchable, very accessible. So I really like that aspect about your brand.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's definitely our mission, is just take away a lot of that kind of misinformation, I think, about tarot. Yeah.
Misinformation. Oh, I know. It's like, it's something that we were a little afraid of for some reason. Like for me, it's like, what if I pull out a really bad card? Do I just, grab another card and pretend it didn't happen? But it was very reflective. And something that I think a lot of people don't realize right off the bat is I realized that not that I think there's a lot of your intuitive, in your intuition, the way that you have understood business and that kind of instilled into this book. It's really not about good or bad. Rather, it's a very reflective experience. So to kind of spit it out, like one thing that I did even the first roundabout, and I don't remember exactly the cards I picked, but it was so reflective of my situation. This was late last year, and I've mentioned it to you. It's basically 3 cards saying, Faye, you've worked hard. And also, you have reached a certain level of financial stability. And maybe it's a moment to pause and the moment to really enjoy and celebrate that. And then that made me feel so good that night. It's like, oh, I don't have to be up at 1 a.m, like writing another blog post. It's like, maybe just relax and just enjoy
Mm.
this moment.
Yeah, what I call tarot like the mirror to the soul. And I think what's really beautiful is that you probably already knew that that was the answer, right? You knew that
Mm-hmm.
you needed rest. But your conscious mind, which is lovely and productive and wants to, aim high, is there going, no, come on, Faye, let's keep going. Let's go, right?
Yeah.
But you know in your heart, like, oh, yeah, I need to just chill for a bit. What the tarot does is just reflecting that back to you. And it kind of opens up these corners that maybe you haven't really paid attention to, or you've been actively just trying to ignore. And so it's kind of like this tool, this thing that now can reflect back and go, actually, this is what you're really feeling on a deeper level. And you need that imagery and that card to tell you that, because we're not yet fully trained. Many of us are not trained to really be able to access that intuition, just go like, okay, what's my intuition saying right now? So the tarot for me is a little bit like the training wheels to our intuition, and the thing that helps us open up more to our intuition.
I couldn't agree more, because I think, people are lucky enough to have the financial means to, for instance, hire a psychologist or hire a mental coach or hire a coach in general. I mean, that's not really accessible to a lot of people. When I think about these cards and that book together, maybe $20, $25 on Amazon is something that you can travel with, you can bring with you. And it's like, it's almost like having a partner, having an actual coach but even better yet, it's actually all coming from within, right? It's like that inner dialogue that, like you said, you already have the answers. It just needs to be triggered and you need to be reminded the right way. And that's kind of how I felt. I'm thinking, wait a minute, this for $25, I can just stay with me, as opposed to an actual, usually a session with a shrink, with a psychologist, $200-300 in the US. That is just, I feel like, in a way that all of a sudden there's kind of no excuse anymore. I mean, this is right up, yeah, at your fingertips.
Yeah, I mean, of course, psychologists have their value in certain ways, but yes, definitely, this is another tool that's available for that self-reflection, and it is very accessible. Even just a daily card pull for 5 minutes is probably why your mum's going like, pull me cards, because it
Yeah.
gives us that time to reflect. It's great.
Absolutely. And she's so eager to like pull her own cards. I was trying to shuffle. She's like, no, she's like, I need to be in charge of the shuffling process, so it's more me. And then she's right. She always pull out very like much more relevant information. So yeah, Bridget, I want to like play if try a few things out if you're up for it.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Do you, so one of the things that I was thinking of, if you want to kind of go in this direction, because I know, watching like amazing content creators, YouTube creators, and to be watching, you might be thinking like, oh gosh, tarot, I don't know anything about tarot. That's very nice. Yeah, it sounds good. See you later. But hold on, because I wanted to just show a few ways that you could actually use tarot in content creation. And it doesn't matter if you have read tarot before or you've never read tarot, never even thought of it. Because I think tarot can actually support us in the creative process really in a really powerful way. And one of the things that I thought of is, if you're thinking about your next YouTube video, oh gosh, what on earth am I going to do? And it doesn't matter if you're in like, I don't know, loan refinancing, or you're in showing YouTube creators how to improve their YouTube profile, or, whatever it might be. If you can get some tarot cards, or even get them online, you can pull cards online, is just think about, okay, what's some inspiration for my next video content topic, right? And I'll get, you do this too, Faye, and we'll have a little play with it. So, oh, great. So like, let's say if I'm in like, let's do loan refinancing. It's funny that I brought that up, because now we've got the Ace of Pentacles, and Pentacles is very much about money. It looks like a giant coin. And even if you look at this imagery, you'll see like you can start to get some ideas of what this card might be talking about. So there's this giant like hand coming out with the coin on it, and it's as if there's a new opportunity, a new financial opportunity being shown to you. And you really need to make that decision. Am I going to accept the opportunity and then walk through this little gateway, and behind that are some of the mountains, and the mountains can really talk about the challenges, like, yes, this golden opportunity, but you're going to need to work for it. And so then you might go, oh, well, that's interesting. Wonder what I could do with a video around that. So maybe in loan refinancing. It's not even my area of expertise. I don't know why I've chosen it, but
that's a great example. Oh, keep going.
but it might be like how to evaluate the right loan refinancing options for you, and then not just what looks great on paper, but what else comes, like what is that hard work that comes after the opportunity? What will you need to do to really maximize that? So there's a video content that you could do just by looking at a picture in a card. You can always go and look up the meaning online as well, and that might give you some insight. And it might just send you off in a direction, particularly if you've been creating content for a while and sometimes you get a little bit stuck and you think, what's next? So Faye, what did you draw a card? Let's see if we can.
I want to I first of all, I thought that example was so interesting because of the financial downturn. I mean, there's a lot of, like, for instance, layoffs in the US, and that when you pull that card, I was just thinking, there are a lot of, senior engineers like Google, Facebook, they're making an enormous amount of money for many years, having that comfort and that cushion to sit on. And that's something that, they always visualize, right? They've really done it, achieved it. And now if they're laid off, like, to me, that mountain represents, certain obstacles, but maybe behind that mountain, there are new opportunities that they just couldn't see before. So I want to show people how to shuffle. This shuffling cards is, like, very challenging for me, but so, okay, I'm going to pull a card right here. And oh my God, this is like, should I be scared? It's the Hangman.
Never be scared by a card. I know sometimes they might look or sound a bit scary, but no.
Yeah.
So just start describing. Tell me, what do you see in this picture?
Oh, I love where we're going with this. So first of all, I see a person that's, like, upside down, and and then at the same time, there's his or her feet. For one foot is tied to the tree upside down, and then but there's a tree behind it. To me, it signifies growth. And sometimes I also see, like, first of all, I'm not even relying on anything. I don't have any experience memorizing the cards, but to me, it also signifies, like, a new vision, right? Like, when I remember when we were so playful, when kids, I love being upside down. That's kind of my comfort zone when I was a kid. But also, I know a lot of friends from Cirque du Soleil, literally that's their comfort zone. I'm thinking about you, Gasia Afterton. And so it actually, to me, it's kind of a new vision, where maybe sometimes I like, oh, what I'm doing now, maybe I do just the opposite and see what happens. So these are the thoughts.
Yes, that's awesome. And, notice, like, that halo around his head as well, because that is that kind of new insight, new vision. And I love the analogy of, when you go upside down, the world looks entirely different. And that is, sometimes we need to do that, like, look at things completely from a different angle to see things in a new way. And then, how could that translate into a YouTube video for you? Like, what would a topic look like with that in mind?
Yeah. To me, I think it's a new mindset. So I can think of a number of, YouTube video ideas and think about the opposite. So for instance, one of the things we do is how not to do something, or the ways that you should not, if you're trying to maybe talk about a website or software, like, what are the reasons not to use that? And kind of the opposite ways, or even for me to think about creative work. For instance, one of the videos that I did, which I wouldn't say it's the most popular video, but several clients ended up watching that video and hired me because it was about a live streaming tool. Instead of using it and say, in this 1 minute, in this 3 minute, I'm going to show you how to go live. And that's kind of what the software was about. It's going live, like, very frictionless. But when I used the software, I said, I'm going to do the opposite of just recording my take on this. And the video was about 10 minutes long for me as a first-time user, and actually looking into each option, slowing things down and not skipping any clicks and things like that. So people love watching that video because we were like, I know exactly, I can follow her throughout the entire journey. And just opposite thinking sometimes really helps.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Yes, it's kind of like the what not to do.
Yeah.
And, another element of Hanged Man is about like temporary pause and suspension. So it's almost like, hey, you're doing this thing, stop doing it, do this instead.
Mm.
So there you go. Like, look at just how one card, and you didn't even look it up in the book. You just worked off the picture, which is exactly what I recommend people do if they're new to tarot.
Mhm.
And you've already generated some different ideas that you could use in your own content. So you can see how a tool like this can just be that creative inspiration for anyone. Doesn't matter if you know about tarot or you don't.
Mm. I mean, this is so fascinating. And, I think there's just so much to dissect. And the fact that, Bridget, a lot of people in creative work as a YouTuber, content creator, which I'm going to be interviewing several in the coming month, is that people have the feeling of like just stuck, could be on big or small things. So we're talking about either facing a blank page that you need to write 500, maybe 1,000 words, or sometimes just social media copy. Sometimes it's just a subject line or a title for a video that people feel really stuck. So in ways that I feel like playing with tarot cards could really unblock people. Have you
Yeah.
seen things like that happening?
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll notice we haven't done any like predicting the future here. We've just used it as a tool for creativity. So a lot of people think, oh, tarot, you tell the future, but we're not telling the future of your video and if it's going to be successful and whatever. We're actually just using it as a creative prompt. And so there are, many different ways that you can use tarot. Because even if you're a creator and you're starting to feel a bit stuck in your whole process, maybe you can do a little bit of self-reflection. Like, what is it that's blocking me right now as a creator? And how can I release some of those blocks? So let me just pull a couple so we can do this as
I was going
an
to do the same
example.
thing. I love it.
So let's see, like, this is hypothetical. What's blocking me? Well, maybe it's not hypothetical. It never is.
This is so cute. I love the drawing.
Because, we are looking at our YouTube strategy right now. I'll just give a little story, but and I'm so excited to do the YouTube strategy, but I know that we've got to have process in place. We've got to have the right infrastructure for it to really flow and get off the ground in a big way. So it's funny actually, because have a look at this card, the Knight of Swords. What's blocking me? This is a huge amount of energy and wanting to like push things forward. But sometimes that desire to do things really quickly and like, why aren't we just doing it now? That can actually be a blocker, because sometimes it's important just to slow down. And what's really interesting is the release card, like how to release that energy is the Two of Pentacles. And you'll see that he's juggling these two coins and he's kind of having to balance different priorities. And that's certainly what we're experiencing for Biddy Tarot and being on YouTube is there's so many different priorities that we have. And while I have a lot of energy and excitement about creating content here and now, we actually have to juggle it in the context of other priorities at the moment. So there you go. What about you, Faye? Do you want to draw? Are you ready to like open your heart to your community?
What's blocking me? Oh, I'm ready. This is so much fun. So you mentioned the idea of a release card. So do you, in this case, pull 2 cards instead of 1?
Yeah. So first one, think about what's blocking you. And then second, what action you could take or how to release that blockage. Yeah.
Okay. I'm here. Okay. So the first is what's blocking me. And this is, let me read it, Page of Wands. And really interesting cards. I want to make sure my camera focuses on that. So I see a person using so this is a wand, I guess. And is it I think, oh, interesting. And I see the background and I don't know if I see the sun. What's blocking me? How do I read this?
Okay, no, this is good. I'm glad you're getting a little bit stuck with it, because I'll show you how to kind of get unstuck.
Please do.
Have a look at the man. What is he? Is he going somewhere, or is he staying in one place? Yeah,
One place.
and he's kind of does he necessarily have a plan yet, or is he does he feel like he's waiting? What do you think his thoughts or feelings might be in this point?
Yeah, I'm, I think he's maybe standing still, and then maybe I wonder if he feels a sense of like loneliness as well. Like, is he thinking kind of independently on his own? Does he feel like he has a level of support? Or where does he go to? I don't know. There's clarity that he
Yeah.
has just yet.
Yeah, interesting. And then the wands are very much about inspiration. And is he
Oh.
waiting for some inspiration, perhaps? Is he like, what's next? So maybe the blockage is around um, getting inspiration and really tapping into like feeling like sometimes, we can create, if we're creating content in just our little bubble and we're not
Mhm.
thinking about what is our community, what does our customer avatar really need?
Mhm.
And if we don't have that strong connection to our customers and our community, it can start to feel like, oh, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to produce.
Mhm.
And so maybe there's kind of that waiting for some inspiration and to feel lit up. How does that land?
Yeah, well, that I have an opening card as well. But as you mentioned, because I didn't really fully understand that wand is a sign of inspiration. To me, like once that clarity is there for me, I'm looking at it as a situation of like for me personally to finally put my foot down and say, I want to focus on YouTube strategy for small businesses. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I mean, just today, I have a couple of clients reaching out to me. Actually, I would say prospects, clients I had before, and reaching out to me to say, we want a turnkey solution to work with someone, an agency on our YouTube strategy. And to me, it's like setting that focus all of a sudden is driving the results that I'm expecting for and that focus I need to grow my business. So
Yes. And I'm hearing putting that stake in the ground, being like, and that's almost what it looks like, right? Put the stake in the
yeah,
ground, say, this is who I am and who I'm here to serve.
yeah.
Beautiful. And what's your second card?
Oh my God. This is the Five of Pentacles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. What do you see? And what does it mean for you?
This one, oh, interesting. So I see these, so five pentacles, and there's a woman covering her, wearing this long gown and kind of walking away. And so like based on her posture, that makes me feel like, is she upset about something? Is she, is this like, is she energetic or is it feeling upset? I don't really know, but the way I see it is when I think about like five, I know it's just arbitrary number, but I think about all the things I ended up working on, like live stream, podcasts, and all the things I'm truly passionate about, um, helping me do. Sometimes like parting ways with a million services that I have invented, there is a sense of almost a sense of grief, like realizing that of course I can do them again, but right now I am shifting all my energy towards YouTube strategy because I know that's the right thing to do. So um, that's really interesting to me, but I know, like, to me this is still very activating because I can feel the sense of energy to say like this is the right thing to do. I just have to believe in me. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, there's so many layers in there to unpack, and what you've shared is like beautiful. So the
Oh.
fives are interesting because it's halfway point between the one, which is very much about new opportunity, and 10, which is about completion. And when
Mhm.
we're in that state of kind of, it's like a transition state. You're no longer like making something new. Now you're heading towards completion. But just as like when the tide changes, say in a river, and you end up with like the waves are looking crazy, or any
Mm.
kind of change or transition, it can create a little bit of friction. And so you might be experiencing some of that like friction about which way am I really going here. The other thing about the Five of Pentacles can sometimes be a bit of a scarcity mindset. And
Mhm.
because she's out in the snow and she's locked away from the church. So the church is actually there and available for her if
Mm.
she wants the warmth, but she's out in the snow. So she's kind of like, oh, poor me, I'm lacking. And so
Mm.
what might be interesting for you is as you lay out that desire to work with small business, there may be a part of you that's like, oh, but maybe I should keep all of these other clients who may not be fully aligned. But what if I don't what if I run out of money? And what if I
Mhm.
run out? What if there's not enough?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of working through some of that mindset as well, and just being like ready to embrace what it is that you have committed to. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're absolutely right about this. It's so funny. Earlier today, I was just editing some shorts for our lovely mentor Dory Clark, and one of the last videos I watched is the fact that the things that we're working on that are especially worth pursuing actually takes time. It's not that we're not smart. It's not like we haven't figured out the hacks. It's just valuable, meaningful things actually take time. So as you were mentioning about this card of 5 between 0 to 10, or between 1 and 10, is like sometimes it's so easy to give up or to doubt ourselves, to question our commitment, question our patience even on our way to achieving something greater. Absolutely agree with that. And also, like you said, Bridget, about letting go of the clients that are no longer aligned with our vision, with our business. And it's hard to say goodbye, and I've had to do that in the past couple of years. And it's ultimately that is the right decision. And this is so this is so revealing, more so than I thought. So I
Yeah,
love it.
good. Yeah, yeah, awesome. And so you can just see like how easy it is to access these types of insights. And again, we have not looked at the book. We have not looked at card meanings online, which are all available and accessible. But there's so much that you can get just by looking at the pictures. And the reason that works so well is because what it does is it starts to bypass our conscious mind. Our conscious mind likes sort of words and thoughts. It's a little bit more logical, but our subconscious really responds well to the imagery. And so the imagery in the card is what actually helps us go deeper and beyond just our conscious thoughts. We get deeper into our more subconscious and our intuition effectively. And I think what's also neat is it's like, it almost gives you a bit more license to go, oh, well, the card, look at the picture. That's what's happening in the card. So it has to be that way. Whereas if we consciously think, that's when we start to doubt ourselves, like, oh, is mine just making this up? But cards really help us go, oh, okay, yeah, there is a different way, or there's something new there that I haven't seen before.
I absolutely love this. And if anybody's watching here live, please feel free to drop us a note, drop your questions, nothing too silly. I know we can't see everybody like coming from LinkedIn, for instance, but let us know if you have any questions now or after we've gone live. One thing, Bridget, I think we don't realize, like people who haven't started their business just yet, or people are just starting out, they don't realize all the ups and downs that actually do happen with entrepreneurs and from all walks of life. And I see your business, Biddy Tarot, as a very, very successful one in many ways that some people could be surprised, because it feels really niche. Yet, it is very successful. It targets beginners, aspiring tarot readers, and professionals. So I would love for you to maybe talk about some of the ups and downs, and whether you use tarot to kind of conquer that, to have your breakthrough. I would love for you to share some of those stories. It's so valuable.
Yeah, when I reflect back on the entrepreneurial journey, I mean, there's so many different ways that you could look at it, but I really see like these transition points between, oh, I'm just doing something fun and, it's a hobby, to, oh, I could make money out of this. And then it's a bit more of a personal brand, and you're basically creating a job for yourself. And that's super fun. Like, it's flexible. You don't usually have team members and so on. Very creative. But I believe that can only go so far. And then I reached a point where I realized, actually, no, I want to go beyond that. I want to have a business. And so with a business, I think you start to open up a lot more to growth. Maybe start to have team members and so on. But also, that's when you do have to show up quite professionally. And so if you don't feel like it, too bad, because you've made a commitment and you stay consistent. Whereas, I think when you're in kind of that personal, like, oh, just, an income, you can, like, if you don't feel like it, great, go to the beach. Like, it's all good. And so I really consciously made that decision to move to business. And then I think the last few years has definitely been about, no, I'm going to build a company, and I really want to build a company brand that can live beyond me, because I know we impact so many people. We like literally millions of people every year, and I don't want that to be just dependent on me. because I want that to continue to live on regardless. I mean, I know I'm a factor in the whole picture, but I really want to be able to create something that has that longevity. And so I think when it comes to like the ups and downs, transitioning into a company per se, it's got a lot of great things about it. You know, the amount of growth that we've experienced. We have 15 million visitors a year to our website. We have a team of 15 who work virtually and all around the world. And yeah, we literally have, you know, thousands of students. And with that comes a huge responsibility to make sure that we are sustainable and we have that long-term factor. And also, you know, I think being a company per se it does come with the responsibility. And sometimes you have to make some really tough decisions to ensure the sustainability of the business. And, you know, a couple of years ago, we had a team of 30 and we had to reduce down to 15 just so that we could stay really focused and streamlined with how we are serving our community. And I've got to say, like, tarot has definitely helped me through those tough decisions. I do pull cards when I need to make a decision. It does not determine my decision. It's information. It helps me through an intuitive process, but it's certainly really supported me and helped me stay in alignment as I've led a company and led this growth in the company. So I think, you know, whether it's tarot or any other kind of intuitive or reflective tool, I think as entrepreneurs, having access to that is incredibly important because we pour our heart and our soul into our work. And if you don't have that level of self-awareness and that time for self-reflection, you could end up on paths that you realize later on, you know, burnout, exhaustion, or like, what the flip have I just created here? And how do I get out of it?
Yeah.
You know, so staying in alignment is so important for success as an entrepreneur. And we're seeing it more and more. You know, I hear like Sarah Blakely talks about it. Steve Jobs talked about his, you know, using intuition. Just hear more and more of this connection to intuition for entrepreneurs.
This is so timely of a conversation because even just, you know, yesterday, the day before, I've spoken with very successful female entrepreneurs who have large followings making, you know, lots of money. Yet I really sense that like that self-imposter syndrome is quite severe among many people. So I wonder if you did experience that, still experience some part of that. And perhaps when you said that 2012, that turning point of you realizing that, wow, this little baby hobby thing is now turning into real business. Like, could you maybe speak to maybe self-imposter syndrome and then what to do about it, perhaps?
Yeah, it's interesting because I speak to other business owners who are at an earlier stage in their journey and they go, oh, you know, am I really the person to do this? I'm like, look, this feeling, it never goes away. I still feel it. And I'm like, you know, we've created an amazing business, an amazing success, but pretty much every week I'm thinking, oh gosh, am I really the right person to do this? Who am I? You know, all of that kind of stuff. And in Australia in particular, we have what's called the tall poppy syndrome. So you typically don't kind of big note yourself and boast, you know, talk about like your successes. So our culture is a lot more just kind of like, oh, you know, quite humble and so on. And yet, you know, we have an American audience and I have quite a few Americans on my team, which I'm really grateful for because they're like, Brigit, you've just got to get out there and you've got to say you're the best. I'm like, oh, okay, yep, sure. So I often have that feeling, but what's got me through is just, I am just like, that will always be there no matter what. I will not let that get in the way. I know that little voice will come in at various times, but just go, all right, thanks very much. Carry on. Because if I stop because I'm worried if I'm not the right person, I'm doing such a disservice to the people that I am helping. And again, there's millions of people that I'm helping and I can't not do the work, you know, can't let just this stupid self-talk stuff get in the way of that.
Wow. Yeah, this is so important. And you know, Bridget, I gotta admit, like talking to you for 40 minutes feels like I've been talking to you for 15. Do you have time? Do you have a meeting immediately afterward? Can you go over
No,
5
I'm good
minutes?
to go a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. And the reason why I think what's so incredible is like you have this big smile. I mean, this is not just us going live, but the moment I met you, I saw the joy of you running the business. Not to say any business, anybody's life is perfect, but it seems like you really you have found the perfect mix, and just the energy wise, the size of the business feels right now. And I love looking at your marketing deck. It's just like painfully clear, and I absolutely love it. There's no ambiguity. There's realistic expectations. I hope your team is aware like how lucky they are to have such a grounded founder like yourself. But I have to ask, like, at what point have you realized this is the right size for you? Because lately in early 2023, I've watched so many videos from Ali Abdul on YouTube, and then Vanessa Lau, all talking. I know we both are watch Vanessa's channels, and they're so open about creating a business they once loved, 3 to 4 people, so nimble, to now multi-million dollars, 25 to 30 people on the team. They all kind of start at one point like hating the stuff that they were doing. So you seem to have already gone through this part before they have. And I wonder how you kind of like found the setup, the model that works for you.
Yeah, great question. Because I know when we had 30 team members, I'm very grateful for all of them. But I know that I was waking up in the morning with a feeling of dread. And I have not had that feeling for like a very long time. And I'd be like, oh gosh, it's a work day.
Yeah.
And I knew like, oh, I can't sustain that.
Mhm.
And really, yeah, I mean, the reason why we brought the team down, mostly like the financial side, just to bring our costs under control a little bit more.
Mhm.
But also, yeah, I wanted to have a team that felt really good. And I think once you get to 30, what we noticed was that you need to have policies, processes, HR. We started hiring for an HR manager and then realized like, what are we doing? And it was insane. And yeah, and then you've got to have all these different layers of like management and so on for it to really work. So now that we're back down to 15, I feel like we've got a really yummy magic that's happening in our team, and it's really manageable, and it's a nice group size that everyone knows each other, has rapport with each other, can connect and collaborate very well. The other thing that's been incredibly important is while I am like founder and CEO of Biddy Tarot, I work alongside Kayleen, who is our COO, and she's really the day-to-day, like the integrator. We really fit now that model of me staying in that visionary and very strategic place, because I love strategy. Like I'm not just a creator, like, oh, let's do this thing. I'm thinking strategy of like, oh, okay, what's our 2-3 year plan? But Kayleen is the one who's taking that vision, turning it into a strategy, getting the team to align to it and start and work and bring it into manifestation. So that has been absolutely critical for my own well-being, so that I'm not managing directly other people, because that drives me, it's a lot. But I think that is actually what can lead to burnout for a lot of founders when they're growing teams, is they get stuck in a model where they are now managing 6-10 people. And I have had many friends who've just gone, oh, I don't want a team, like fire everybody. And now they're back on their own. And I know that I don't want that. But I know that for that to work, I've got to have that really nice structure that has the visionary integrator and then the team, and that works well.
Well, this is so helpful. I so appreciate you sharing that, because a lot of people don't really see it coming. They just, every voice is saying, go bigger or go home. And it's all about making more money. Lately, I've been thinking, even just from pulling cards, to realize, okay, what about the quality of my life? Am I okay with making the same amount of money, but having more time on my own, playing the guitar, hang out with mom, friends? And so it's just like different ways of looking at life, not just a single dollar amount, which we so often use to kind of like validate the decisions that we make. So that is so helpful, Brigit. I would love for you to
can I just add one bit in there? Because what was really interesting is that when we reduced our team, our actual margin went right back up again. And so if you look at it at the kind of the actual the money that you make, like from a smaller team,
Mhm.
It can be more. And I'll tell you why. It's because when you have a team of 30, you can actually get very bogged down in, now you've got
Mhm.
3 people who've got strategic perspectives and opinions. And then you have to work out, oh, which one of those is the right way to go. You can get into a bit of self-doubt and so on. So it slows the whole system down. Whereas I think when you go a little bit smaller, you can actually create a lot more efficiency. You're having much more impact with your community, and that inevitably impacts the financials in a positive way. So I think more in terms of what's like that sort of scalable, profitable growth versus just your vanity, like revenue or sales growth. That we saw that quite clearly, that we could grow sales, but the costs were like just matching, and when we were more efficient as a team, we could create a lot more value in a more efficient way.
Oh, that is so fascinating. It's, what's the point of, yeah, making more sales, but at the same time, the operations costs, the advertising are just totally over the roof. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, this is so much for me to reflect on after the recording, the live stream as well. And I would love for you to maybe just like in closing, like let's talk about what's next for Biddy Tarot. And I know that you're always transforming your business. You're such a visionary. So please share with us like what is the future of Biddy Tarot?
Yeah, so we're very excited to be launching the Biddy Tarot deck. So that will be out in end of March, but you can sign up for the wait list right now. And that's over at biddytarot.com/deck, DECK, deck. um, and yeah, we'll be doing a first release to our wait list. So definitely jump onto that if you're interested about the Biddy Tarot deck. I really see a whole new world opening up through this deck, and the potential to create some more physical product, high quality tarot swag, I suppose. We're really interested to see what might happen in that space. And the other thing is we're very soon to be opening our Biddy Tarot certification program for this year. Already we've had thousands of students take part in this program. So it's great to do another round. I think we might be in our 6th year of it, actually, if my memory serves correctly. So that's very exciting. And we continue just to serve our community through our courses and our community. And I think we'll be investing a lot more into content, video content, and sharing more content online as well, which is great. And I can see these wise cards you're asking about, just to see a few of the cards. So let's have a little peek. I'll just pull out some random ones. So there's the moon and the sun. You see, like, just beautiful, just a beautiful color palette that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And very easy, like what we were saying earlier is, these cards aren't kind of scary. Like, okay, here's the devil card. A lot of people don't like the devil, but it's nice. It's not too confronting. And this is great because if you are reading for friends and family who may not be open to tarot yet, these kinds of cards, like here's the Tower, this is another kind of scary card. But it's easier on the eye. It's like, oh, okay, yes, there is a breakthrough. Oh, I'm okay,
No, I'm okay. It's so cute. Who is in terms of who's the artist, or what's the kind of the creation process behind that? You're so excited and we love the design.
Yeah, so we're very lucky that we've had a team of designers collaborate. So this really is a collaborative project. And even my husband, who is a designer, he designed the box.
I love the box.
Yeah,
I love the cover.
Yes, it's my favorite card in the deck. But yeah, we've had a couple of designers, and I was working with them on like the creative direction, just to really bring that energy all into alignment. So yeah, it's good.
So good, so good. Thank you so much for your time, Brigit. For everybody who is watching this now, later, please check out biddytarot.com. And especially if you're new to this, even if you're a blogger, YouTuber, content creator, copywriter, you're thinking about starting your journey, maybe you're going through something right now, you want to kind of unblock. I would say that everything you find on the site is just so invaluable. There's so many free tools, ebooks, beautifully designed. I have personally downloaded like 18 different things and, absolutely love it. So please do go check it out. With that said, Brigit, it's such a pleasure to have known you, to be able to share those conversation. Thank you so much for spending the time with me today.
Oh, thank you, Faye. It's been a pleasure. And again, just so beautiful watching you just open up and blossom with your tarot cards and how you're integrating them into your life. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you guys. And definitely go check out definitely this, the new card. And also I absolutely love this book, Intuitive Tarot. Without memorizing and really connect with yourself. So with that said, I'm going to take us offline. Thank you for being here and we'll see you next time. Bye.